Awesome. So good to see you guys today. And thank you so much for joining us for this morning's Bambuddha Boost. We have only got a couple of weeks left of these boosts, but we're going to keep giving you some good stuff this week, next week, and the week after. And this morning, we've got a good friend of mine, Shelly McElroy. Me and Shelly have actually known each other since we were 19 years old and we were kids club reps working in Spain. So we go back quite a while, and it just so coincidentally happens we've ended up in a similar field again. So the universe keeps throwing us back together, and we're really glad for that today. So Shelly is one of the senior facilitators for leading teams here in Australia. She looks after the Sydney region, and she helps businesses and their teams, you know, create impactful, leading, driven teams. And she's got a brilliant methodology and model which she's going to share today. But before I do, please can we give Shelly McElroy a big round of applause? Woo! She's walking in like a weather girl onto the green screen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thanks for that lovely introduction, Anna. So my name is Shelly McElroy. I've had the absolute privilege of working for leading teams for the last year and a half. And the reason I chose to work with them is having been a client for 6 years prior to that. So what they really did was help our team, our business improve. And the work that I got has helped me both personally and professionally. And I couldn't think of a better fit for me. So thanks very much. And I'll share with you our main model. So thinking about high performing teams and high performing leaders, what I'd like you to do for yourself is write down 3 key words. If you were to describe yourself as a leader right now, what are 3 words that would best describe you? So have a little think about that. 3 words to best describe you as a leader right now. So you might be having influence, impact, challenging. You might be feeling a bit flat post-pandemic or through the pandemic. Whatever that means for you, just write them down and we'll come back to it at the end. So high performing teams need high performing leaders. And if you think about why that might be, think about the most inspiring leader that you've ever worked for and think about how you performed under them. So one of the most impressive leaders I've ever worked for is a gentleman called Anthony Jones. And he used to challenge me, but also give that reward when necessary. So he would say to me, what influence and impact are you having right now? And it always just got me to think about, God, what are my priorities right now? Am I using my time wisely? Do I need to shift it a little bit? And if you think about how you affect your team, what impact and what influence are you having right now on your team? When we look at high performing teams, one key thing that they always have is a common purpose. And what we mean about a common purpose, there's a great story that I love to share, and it's about John F. Kennedy back in the 1960s. And he's doing a back tour walk around NASA. And he meets this guy that's very, very busy detail cleaning, and he asks him, what's your role here? And the janitor's response was, my role is to help put a man on the moon. So if you think about that, every single person at that time working through NASA, their role, regardless whether it was cleaning, whether it was front of house, whether it was astronauts, whatever it might be, they had a common purpose, and that was to help put a man on the moon. When we look at our common purpose at leading teams, it's to help individuals and teams improve. And if every day, if I'm not doing something that's aligned to that, I'm not doing a good enough job. So think about what's your common purpose in your team. Are they aware of it? Are they fully across it? So that's every single level across your org structure. After the common purpose, the model then breaks into 2 sections. So we've got the mechanics of the business. So you guys are experts in your field. That's stuff like KPIs, budgets, strategies, your org structure. The day-to-day running of your business is all the mechanical things that you do. And where we come in and help is in the dynamics section. So what I mean by dynamics is culture and behavior. So what is culture? So if you think about, if I was to join your business today and walk into your office, day one, what kind of culture would I feel? What would I see? What behaviors would I notice on the team? Is somebody going to come up and introduce themselves to me? Or am I going to be put sit in the corner and left to my own devices? Will somebody come and have a chat to me and take me for lunch on my first day and make sure I feel welcome? What will I see the team behave like? And there's a great expression that says culture is the behavior that we accept. So if you think about that, what are you accepting in your team right now that you should maybe challenge? And what are you accepting that is actually fantastic and we actually need to reward and leverage and bring more of to the team? One of the guys in our team yesterday had a meeting and he spoke to the CEO of this business and he said, how are the team getting on? And the CEO said, well, they're not really, everybody's working from home. And he was like, no, like how are the team connecting? And he was like, well, they're not. Everybody is just doing their own thing back at home. So regardless of your location, think about how you're bringing your team together. Are you checking in with them? And I know this time in particular is very, very challenging, but what can you do as a leader to have more impact and connect to them? Dynamics, just 3 key components that we feel really help bring this to life. And the first one is an agreed behavioral framework. Now, the key word here is agreed. And the reason being is that you're not, you want your team buy-in. You want them to agree that this is what we're going to feel when we come to this business. This is how we're going to behave. So one of our agreed behavioral frameworks is that we will take responsibility. So, for example, a year and a half ago when I started, some of our documents were a little bit outdated. They were in Microsoft Word 2011 and there was a few new members of the team. And I was chatting to our marketing person one day and I said, God, these documents really need a bit of a ramp up. And he said, well, part of our trademark is take responsibility. What have you done about it? And I was like, oh, okay, I actually need to take action here. So while I wasn't able to fully give them the justice that they needed, I was able to put in ideas, reshift them a little bit, and he took them to the next level. So think about what behaviors you expect from your team. Do they have a common purpose, and what is everybody aligned to? Another part of it is to build strong professional relationships. So for some people, they think strong professional relationships means that you might have to go out and get pissed with everyone at the weekend, or you might have to be people's best mates. That's not what we're talking about. A strong professional relationship is built on mutual trust and respect. So if you think about your team, think about where are my relationships at? Do I have mutual trust and respect with them? Can I give, if a moment is really, really crucial, can I provide feedback when we're all under pressure? Can I say, I know you can do better than that. I've seen better from you. That just wasn't up to our standard today. And you know you can do better. Let's review it and let's improve it. There was a client of ours as well. And when we asked him who his most inspiring leader was, he mentioned an old boss, and he said, what I loved about him was he always asked me how my kids were. And the facilitator said to him, well, did he know your kids' names? And he's like, God, no. He said, well, what else did he know about you? Did he know what you like to do at the weekends? And he was like, no. So their chit chat became, hey, how are you? How's the kids? How's the family? And he thought that was taking a personal interest. But like, do you know about your people in your team? How strong are your relationships with your team? This is who we spend, 30, 40, 50, sometimes plus hours with per week. How well do you know the people in the room? Can you trust them? Can you provide feedback in a difficult situation? And then it leads into the genuine conversation. So there's a million ways to have a genuine conversation, but what you really need to do is get your message across, make sure it's a two-way pathway, and then just be in a place where you've built trust, you have that respect, and you can provide feedback and really give a little bit of rigor that will improve your performance. And when your team dynamics are in a really good place, what happens is it drives the mechanics of your business. And if you think of an example where something, that thing that's been keeping you up at night, that like you're tossing and turning, you can't stop thinking about, have you had a genuine conversation about it? And if you think of the purpose of giving feedback, if you often start it with, the purpose of this conversation is to help you improve. That's sometimes the piece that we're missing. So I had a story with my old director of HR, and she came into me one day and we were having a bit of a meeting, and she said, Shelly, I have to give you some feedback about your team. She said, there's an area of improvement, this is it. and I instantly went into defense mode. So we had an hour's meeting, and I swear to God, I sat there like a bull in a china shop, been like, how does she know? Like, she doesn't even work here. What does she know about my team? And at the very end of the conversation, there was a whole lot in it. She said to me, can you just give me a bit of a gauge about what you've heard? And I'm not joking, I could not re-articulate one other point in that entire conversation. So when you're given feedback, it's only as effective as the receiver hears it. So sometimes just asking that critical piece, what have you heard? Because I got caught up on the first point. There was probably 6 points in that conversation. And in it as well, might I add, I actually got a pay rise and a promotion. And I wasn't even excited about it. I was so caught up on the team. And she said, oh, you know, you have a tendency to get a bit defensive. And I was so defensive about being defensive. I was like, give me an example. And she was like, well, right now. And I was very challenged by it. But when I had time to receive, reflect, and respond on the feedback, it's one of the most critical pieces of feedback I've ever gotten. And I can get defensive, and I do try and work on it, and I try and like improve it. I try not to take things as personally as I would have previously. But it's a work in progress, and you have to review yourself. So there's a 4-step process that we work off. It's learn, commit, do, review. And I think as we get so busy in life, and you know, work gets busy and outside of work gets busy, we never really take the time to review things properly. So something that you could consider doing at the moment as we start to re-engage into some sort of new norm work life, just maybe sit down with your team, and it's a review that we did recently. It was just a SWOT analysis. What strengths have we displayed through COVID? What are our weaknesses? What are some opportunities and areas for growth? And what are some threats to the business? So we will all feel a bit of pinch in all of those areas at the moment, but sit down and review and give credit to your team, because there's going to be some things that they have done exceptionally well through the stress of a pandemic. You know, people have lost their jobs, they've been at home, it's been really tight. I know personally, I've been really craving social engagement. So think about that and just get them to review what they've done. And through my career in hospitality, one of the biggest days of the years for us was Melbourne Cup Day. And I'm not joking, you would spend weeks and weeks and weeks planning this. The lead up to it, like, generally starts around August, biggest day of the year, every venue across the group booked out, the Race Destination coming on live. And we would have all hands on deck, the team looking their finest, everything prepped. And the next day, we would start talking about Christmas. We would never review how the day actually went. And when you don't review, you don't have that opportunity to grow. Like, also highlight those things you did really well, but also where were the gaps? And if we could do that day one more time, what would we do differently? So when you think about yourself as a leader, and I've asked you to describe yourself as 3 words, if tomorrow or today was the last day of your career, think about that legacy piece. What do I want to stand for? So what I'd like you to do now, if you're tuned in, is just sit back, relax, and close your eyes and come with me on this journey. So imagine that we have just arrived at Star Casino. You're in your finest outfit, and you get out of a car and we're walking into an auditorium. As you get there, you start to see all these pictures of you throughout the walls, and it's the highlights of your career. You start to meet all your favorite people. It might be your family, your best friends, your favorite mentor, team members, those people that have really inspired you along the way. And as you sit down at your table, you open a booklet and you realize that this ceremony is for you. This is your final day of your career. And there's going to be 3 speakers speaking on your behalf. The first one is going to be your CEO, and they're going to highlight everything that you have contributed for this business. The second one is going to be your parent or your partner, and they're going to talk about more about you as a person. So not so much what you've just done, but more about what you actually bring to their life. And the third person is somebody that you have been an inspiring mentor for over 10 years. Somebody that would not be in that position without you. So think about this. what kind of person would they describe you as? How would you like to be described on that final day? What kind of impact and influence did you have throughout your journey? Were you a good parent? Were you a good friend? Were you a good mentor? What would you have loved to do better? What if you had your time over again? What would you do differently? And just for a moment, think and pause as you get that final standing ovation. What 3 words do you hope resonate that you will be described as on that final day? So just take a moment and write down those 3 words and think about, are they different from what you're described as right now? So some of them might be the same. And when I did that exercise, honest was one of the ones that I felt I was right now, and one that I wanted to stand for on my last day. So while it's not a massive gap there, I still need to work and consistently deliver that in everything that I do. Where sometimes I can get a little bit flustered is the patience part. So I move quite quickly, I sometimes get ahead of myself, and sometimes the attention to detail can really drop off. And that's always going to be an area of growth for me. I would like to be described as accurate and thorough at some point in the future. So just think about the gap between what we are right now and what we want to be is our area for growth. So when you think of those descriptives, just think of what's one key action I can do a little bit differently to be a better leader. Just think, what's one thing, if I started to do it today and started to work on, from the leader that I am today to the legacy I want to lead, how can I bridge that gap? And if you think about that, this is our area for growth. Just strategize, you can help your team with it, and then start to work towards it. And one of the other final things I'd like to leave you with is in the genuine conversation, a tool that we use to give feedback and to help teams is called a stop, start, keep. So the language that we use in our model and in all our delivery is very deliberate. So if I was to give you feedback right now, what are like 2 to 3 things max that I would like you to stop doing? And this is not just, to throw somebody under the bus, to slate them. It's to help them drive improvements to become a higher performing leader or a higher performing member of our team. So what's something I could stop doing? So it might be under pressure, your communication skills really drop off. So when you're under pressure, I'd like you to stop getting so flustered and just try and pause. That could be a useful piece of feedback. That might be the stop element. Then the start element, what are 2 or 3 things that you can do that are going to make you be higher performing? If you started to take a deep breath and pause and reset and reprioritize, I believe you will be a higher performing leader. Can we work together? Can we work out a way to move forward with that? And then the key part, do not underestimate the power of telling your employees how great they are and what behaviors you love in them and why you enjoy working with them. These are the keeps and unlimited list. This is what we want you to keep doing. This is why you're employed here. This is why we absolutely love having you as part of the team. The stop and the start, while they might be hard to hear, this is the real opportunity for growth as a leader. This is where you're really helping. And sometimes those stops and starts, while they might be the hardest bit to articulate, just think of the impact. If you as a leader, let that slide. Are you doing them justice? Are you doing your team justice? What if we all never said anything about what we see? How actually would our team be performing? So bringing those issues to the surface in a professional manner, in a respectful way, investing a little bit in your people, building that mutual trust and respect. That feedback should be received well, and you can help coach them through. So take that time, invest in your people, stop, start, keep, and let's start moving forward and drive our higher performing teams. Thank you. Anna, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Shelley. It's been so good to see you today. Can we give Shelley a little round of applause, everybody? It's been awesome to see her. And has anybody got any questions? Any questions at all? Pam, Carla, Adele? Anything you'd love to ask Shelley while we've got her hostage at the Bambudda HQ? Yeah, I think everybody's just thinking about the stop, start, keep. Hope you're not stuck on the stop, you lot. No questions. Thanks, awesome, Shelley. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah, lots of love. Don't forget tomorrow we do have the money mastery. So tune in for tomorrow's boost. We've only got a couple of weeks left of the boost because we're gonna let everybody go back to, well, creating the new norm in the workplace. So have a good day today. Be kind to yourself. Don't spend too much time on the stops. Spend lots of time on the keeps. And yeah, lots of love from myself and Shelley to you guys today. Take care.